Hello everyone, welcome back to Upside Down Data. Today I want to talk about Fantom, talk a little bit about what our risk indicator makes of it, and why I think that Fantom might be presenting a pretty nice setup right now, especially when you take some other information beyond just our risk model into account. If you like the content, remember to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and follow us on Twitter, where we put out regular updates about our risk indicators and more. So first off, happy holidays. I hope you've been enjoying this recent bounce in the market we've been experiencing. I know I certainly have. And one of the assets I've been following pretty closely throughout this time has been Fantom. So if we look at the price history of Fantom across time, that's what I'm showing you here in this graph. And I'm showing it to you color-coded based on the output of our risk model, the upside downside potential indicator. So a score of 5 is high risk, -5 is low risk. And you'll see that with this correction, we re-entered the green zone. We actually re-entered the green zone pretty dramatically. I'll show you in a minute kind of the raw output. Down below -3 is where we kind of got to during the deepest part of this correction. And we can see that in the past when the UDPI for Fantom has gotten into those zones, that has tended to coincide with these kind of local bottoms. These bottom up points have oftentimes preceded some nice moves to the upside. You know, even here back in the spring, there was this nice dump down into green before this pretty sizable move up. Although unfortunately, then with the rest of the market correcting, we came back down again. But again, even if it's relatively short term, it usually has preceded these nice moves to the upside, and we might be kind of at the beginning of that right now. You know, the UDPI is still in the green zone even as the price of Fantom moves up, and the Fantom has moved up quite nicely over the past week. I think it's up about 75% over the past week or so. Pretty nice move back up to the upside. Be interesting to see if that can continue. And certainly from the risk model's perspective, there's no reason why it couldn't, right? You know, we've seen that for these big parabolic moves to happen, usually Fantom has had to be in this pretty low risk zones before those big pushes to the upside are able to happen. We've kind of gotten this reset of risk more recently. The model sees no reason why that can't move up. You know, the fact that it's still green, even though we're moving up this quickly, might suggest that the model thinks that there's quite a bit more upside potential that could be realized before Fantom might be overheating like we've seen in the past and need to correct. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but certainly from the model's perspective, there's no reason why Fantom can't keep rallying from here, even after this impressive show of strength is put in over the last few days. And if we look at just the raw output of the model, I think we can get another kind of clearer picture here. So here I'm showing the output of the risk model across time. So this is just -5 to 5, just showing the raw output. And what you can see is that when the UDPI puts in these kind of reversal points, that's tended to coincide or at least closely precede or be in the vicinity of trend reversals before you're able to put in these big rallies back to the upside. And you'll notice that we've gotten one of those reversals forming here in terms of risk right now. You know, the downside potential had been being realized, and now that Fantom's starting to rally, it's from the model's perspective starting to realize some of that upside potential it has. But if you just look at the space it has above it right here, you know, this is quite a bit of upside potential that the model thinks is plausible for Fantom to realize. And so to think that a big rally could happen from here is certainly conceivable based on the output of the UDPI. You know, we came down to below -3. If we get a big rally coming out of there, there could be a long way to go, similar to what we saw coming out of the summer, before Fantom has to start cooling off again for the kind of, it'll realize that upside potential and need to wait a little bit longer. So now, of course, this isn't a guarantee that Fantom has to go on a big run like that. You know, obviously a lot's going to depend on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin continues to rally, if Bitcoin can reclaim some of those key levels that a lot of people are watching, I think the 53K range has been one that a lot of people are looking at. That coincides closely to the 20-week moving average, which a lot of people talk about as being an important level for Bitcoin, as well as some on-chain levels that are important at that range. The short-term cost holder basis, or short-term holder cost basis rather, is around that zone, and that's historically provided either support or resistance during or support during bull markets, resistance during bear markets. So how Bitcoin interacts with that level is going to be really important. And if Bitcoin can clear that level and keep doing well, then I expect Fantom to be able to do quite well as well. And seeing what we're seeing just here, it could be that Fantom will really be explosive out of that zone. So that's not financial advice. You know, who knows what's going to happen, so you should make your own decisions. But I personally think that the setup for Fantom is looking quite promising. I think it's showing us signs that it's shown in the past before it's been able to put in big moves to the upside. And so it's one reason why I'm really following Fantom closely right now, because I think it has a lot going for it. And there's more to it than just kind of these risk levels or these kind of technical levels to consider with something like Fantom. So one of the other things that we talk about a lot on this channel, and something that the market really seems to be valuing recently, is this idea of adoption by these layer 1 protocols, which Fantom is one of those. And one of the things that the market seems to be valuing is DeFi adoption as being one kind of metric of adoption of these platforms. So here I'm showing you just a graph from DeFi Llama showing you the different kind of main layer 1 blockchains, and the total value locked on these, and some other data about them. So here I'm showing you the top 10. You'll notice that Fantom is currently sitting at number 6. And you'll see that Fantom has a lot of development going on. It has 100 protocols on it. That's only beaten by the likes of Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, and Polygon. But Fantom actually has more value locked on it than Polygon. And if you've been following the markets, you know that Matic has been doing especially well right now. And also what's interesting about Fantom is it has a better market cap to total value locked ratio than any of these other assets in the top 10. And essentially what this metric is just the market cap of the asset divided by this total value locked in DeFi contracts. And this is a measure that some people use to kind of assess the relative valuation, if something is undervalued or overvalued relative to competitors in the space. And so essentially, if there's a lower market cap to total value lock ratio than some other assets in the top 10, that might suggest that this asset's kind of undervalued, that there's a lot of adoption and use of this asset, but that the price of the asset hasn't necessarily caught up relative to what we're seeing from these other ones. Ethereum's at 3, Luna's at 1.9, Binance Smart Chain's quite a bit higher, 5.4, Avalanche 2.3. So the fact that Fantom is sitting at this lower point might mean that if the market continues to value adoption and DeFi adoption on these platforms, it might be that Fantom will be the next one a lot of people look at in terms of an investment. If people are looking at this and seeing Fantom as being undervalued from this perspective, that might really drive money to it. Fantom's sitting only at around a $6 billion market cap right now, which is about 5 times less than what Avalanche is sitting at right now. And there are a lot of things about Avalanche and Fantom that one can look at and maybe question why they aren't similarly valued. They have similar levels of total value, of protocols on them. Quite a bit less total value locked at this point, but then again, Fantom as a smaller market cap, more might kind of come in as that were to happen. There's reasons to think potentially that Fantom could be the next one to pull an Avalanche, maybe, where if kind of this adoption continues, you'll see this huge surge in value locked over the last 7 days relative to the rest of the top 10. 30% increase in the total value locked on Fantom, which dwarfs the only less than 5% increase that Avalanche has been seeing here. So if that continues, if a lot of money flows into Fantom and flows into some of the projects on Fantom that might be offering better yield than some of the more established protocols, that could be another kind of tailwind that helps push Fantom up, not just in terms of the speculation that could come with it or the narratives that could come with it, but also just the pure utility. One of the reasons people buy these tokens is they want to use them, they want to use those platforms. So there could be a lot of demand that would come in for Fantom for just people who want to just take part in the protocols that exist on it. And if that happens, that could just be one more tailwind pushing the price forward. Now again, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. None of that is guaranteed, but these are just some relevant data points that I'm looking at that make me feel like Fantom is offering a nice setup. That's not guaranteed by any means. I want to be clear about that. It could be the market will just stop valuing layer 1 protocols and the amount of adoption they have. Maybe that kind of narrative has played its course and maybe the market will move on to something else. Could totally happen. And Fantom could be offering a fantastic setup from kind of the old paradigm, and if there's a new paradigm that comes along, that might not matter at all. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But assuming the market continues to value the things it's been valuing, I personally see Fantom as looking quite interesting right now. But again, that's not financial advice. You should do your own research, make your own decisions before jumping into anything or making any decisions. These are just some things that I've been thinking about relative to Fantom. And also, if we just look at Fantom's recent price actions, this is a screen grab from TradingView, we can see that what it's kind of doing right now is not totally dissimilar from things it's done in the past, right? If we look at some of these past rallies that Fantom has been able to put in, sometimes they'll have these kind of extended consolidation periods before really breaking to the upside. And those breaks sometimes will include, red candles. As I record right now, Fantom's putting in its first red candle since almost a week of just solid growth ever since then. But what we're seeing here is not unreasonable to think that Fantom could keep on going. Even though Fantom has rallied this far already, just from what we know based on its risk level and kind of how the risk had really reset during this correction, this could just be the start of a bigger bull run that we've kind of seen before. It could be that Fantom will keep moving. But again, none of that's guaranteed. None of that is for sure. So we're going to have to watch, and it's really going to be important what Bitcoin does. Again, if Bitcoin is able to stay healthy and really keep moving up, that's when I think Fantom really could get the green light to go. If Bitcoin has problems, if Bitcoin gets rejected off of that 53K level or even below and starts correcting downwards, I expect it'll drag the rest of the market down with it. And Fantom, no matter what kind of setup it has, nothing's going to matter. It's going to fall too. When Bitcoin doesn't do well, the rest of the market kind of just has to take a hit as well. That's just generally the way things seem to go. So it'll be interesting to watch. One I'm going to personally watch. But again, you should make your own decisions. Not financial advice, but just one to keep an eye on. If you like the content, remember to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and follow us on Twitter. And remember, with the UDPI, we're all going to make it.